So, you're thinking about setting up your very first aquarium. That's awesome. It can feel like a big project, I know, but it is hands down one of the most rewarding hobbies out there. Today, we're going to walk through everything, step by step, to help you create a beautiful living underwater world. Let's dive in.
I mean, just look at this. An aquarium isn't just some decoration. It's like a living piece of art that's always changing. Seriously, imagine coming home after a long day and just watching your fish swim around. It's so calming. It's a great project for the family, and, it's a little window into an ecosystem that you get to build.
Okay, here's our roadmap. We've broken this down into 6 simple parts. We'll start with picking out fish and a tank, then run through all the gear you'll need. After that, we hit the fun part, the setup. Then we'll get into the science of keeping your fish healthy and finish up with feeding and care. By the end of this, you'll be good to go.
There's a reason so many people get hooked on this hobby. And the secret to making it fun and not frustrating is just getting a few key things right from the very beginning. And that all starts with the first 2 choices you're going to make.
Yep, you got it. It all comes down to picking the right fish and the right home for them. Let's kick things off with a fish I guarantee you've seen before, but it's surrounded by this one massive myth that we need to bust right now.
Right, the betta fish. You've seen them in those tiny plastic cups at the pet store, which has led to this huge misunderstanding that they're totally fine in a little bowl. But here's the deal. While they can survive in a small space, they only really thrive when they have room to move. We're talking at least a gallon, but honestly, bigger is always better. More space just means a happier, healthier, and way more colorful fish.
And that idea, that more space is better, applies to the tank itself. Now this might sound a little backward, but for a beginner, a bigger tank is actually easier to take care of. See, a larger amount of water is just more stable. The temperature doesn't suddenly drop, and the water chemistry doesn't swing wildly. It's way more forgiving, which is why a 20-gallon tank is such a fantastic starting point. So once you've got your tank picked out, it's time to get your gear. And don't worry, you don't need a bunch of complicated lab equipment. There are just a handful of must-have items that'll set you up for success. These 2 things right here are the life support system for your tank. They're absolutely non-negotiable. First up, the filter. It keeps the water moving and pulls out all the gunk. Second is the heater. Most of the fish you're going to want are tropical, which means they need warm, stable water, usually somewhere between 74 and 79 degrees. A good heater is the only way to keep that temperature steady. And speaking of non-negotiables, this is another one. The water from our tap has chemicals like chlorine in it to keep it safe for us, but those same chemicals are really dangerous for fish. Water conditioner is just a liquid you add that gets rid of all that bad stuff instantly. You absolutely have to use it every single time you add water to your tank. No exceptions. Okay, so let's recap. Here is your essential shopping list. You've got your tank, ideally 10 to 20 gallons or more, with a light and a lid. You've got your power filter, your heater, and a thermometer. Some gravel for the bottom, that super important water conditioner, and of course a little net. That's it. That's the core kit you need to get started.
All right, now for the fun part, putting it all together. You've got all your gear. It's time to actually build this underwater world. And I promise you, it's really straightforward. Here we go, 6 simple steps. First, pick a good spot for your tank, somewhere out of direct sunlight, because that can cause a lot of algae. Then rinse your tank, gravel, and decorations with plain water. And please, never ever use soap. Second, add your gravel and decor, then fill her up. Third, install your filter and heater. Fourth, add that water conditioner. Fifth, it's a good idea to add a biological starter. Think of it like fish insurance that helps get good bacteria going. We'll talk more about that in a sec. And finally, number 6, the hardest part, just wait. Let everything run for 24 hours before you even think about adding fish.
And here's just a quick visual of where everything goes. The filter usually just hangs on the back of the tank. The heater goes right in the water. Pretty simple, right? It all tucks away nicely so you can focus on the fish. Okay, so the tank is set up, the water is clear, everything is running. But now, the most important work is about to begin, and it's something you can't even see. We need to talk about the biology that actually keeps your fish alive and well. This is probably the #1 question every beginner has. And the answer is the single most important thing you need to understand about keeping fish. Why can't you just go out, buy a bunch of fish, and put them all in on day 1? The answer is something called the nitrogen cycle. Now, it sounds super scientific, but it's pretty simple. Think of it like nature's own little cleanup crew. It starts with fish waste, which creates a toxic chemical called ammonia. But then colonies of good bacteria start to grow, mostly in your filter.
The first type of bacteria eats that toxic ammonia and turns it into something called nitrite. Still not great for fish. But then a second type of bacteria shows up, eats the nitrite, and turns it into nitrate, which is way, way safer. This natural process is the absolute key to a healthy tank.
But here's the catch. That amazing colony of bacteria doesn't just show up overnight. It needs time to grow. If you throw in too many fish at once, they'll produce way more ammonia than the bacteria can handle, and the water will become toxic. That's why you have to add fish slowly. Start with just a few, wait a couple of weeks for the bacteria to catch up, then you can add a few more. It takes a good month or so for that biological filter to get fully up and running. And when you do bring new fish home, please don't just dump them into the tank. A sudden change in water temperature can really shock them. The best way to do it is to just let the sealed bag float in your aquarium for about 15 or 20 minutes. This lets the temperature inside the bag slowly match the tank temperature. It makes moving day way less stressful for your new pets.
Okay, we're on the home stretch. Your tank's established, your fish are settling in, so let's talk about the simple daily routine. And the number one mistake, the one almost every beginner makes, has to do with feeding.
Here are the golden rules. It's best to feed really small amounts, maybe 2 or 3 times a day. And the key is to only give them what they can eat in about 5 minutes. If you start seeing cloudy water or that kind of fuzzy white stuff growing on the gravel, that's a dead giveaway you're overfeeding. The fix is easy. Just clean out the leftovers with a siphon.
Your other main job is the partial water change. Remember the nitrogen cycle? The last thing it produces is nitrate. And while it's not super toxic, you don't want it to build up too high. Water changes are how you get rid of it. So about every 2 weeks, just siphon out about 25% of the water. And while you're at it, you can vacuum up any waste on the gravel. Then, just replace it with fresh tap water that you've treated with conditioner. That's it. That simple routine will keep your tank healthy for years. And, at the end of the day, it all comes down to this. These are living animals, and just like a dog or a cat, they're counting on us to give them a safe, clean, and healthy place to live. It's a responsibility for sure, but it's also amazing to watch them thrive in the environment you've created for them.
So there you have it. You've learned the science, you've got the shopping list, and you know all the steps. You are ready to build a tiny, self-sustaining world right in your own home. The only question left is, who are you going to invite to live there?